Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Alexis Faye Yoga. I'm so very glad that you've decided to join me today. Now, today we are doing a twisty practice to help us detox and debloat the body. Now, if that sounds good to you, go ahead and roll out your mat, hit the like and subscribe buttons down below, and we'll flow right into it. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another week of yoga. Stay firm. Sending that right foot back. Now, to begin today's class, we will start on the floor in our child's pose. Now, depending on how uncomfortable you're currently feeling in your body, you may want to take your knees wider apart so you can soften the abdomen in between your legs, or it may feel nice to have your legs to press back against your abdomen, but we'll curl into a tight ball, softening the abdomen towards the floor, towards the legs as we drop the forehead down. And we'll take a few deep breaths here, pressing the breath down low into the abdomen so we can press into the legs. Now with our next inhale, we'll start to lift the upper body back up and walk the hands in so we are seated on our legs. Taking the eyes straight out in front of the body, we'll droop the shoulders away from the ears to give us a nice space up the neck. We'll take our pointer and middle fingers of our dominant hand to press into the chin, moving the head back. And the hand that is non-dominant, that is not on our chin, we'll place on the back of the head and gently press the chin towards the chest. Now we can find some micro adjustments here, moving the head over a little in one direction and then over a little in the other. And then we'll gently remove our added pressure as we bring our eyes straight out in front of the body again. Now we'll drop our left ear towards our left shoulder, roll chin to chest as we bring our right ear towards our right shoulder. Now back through center, chin to chest. And to the other side, we'll continue these half circles back and forth. And then we'll make a full circle by moving the eyes up towards the ceiling, keeping the back of the neck long so we're not hanging the head back, but we're reaching through the crown of the head up and rolling around. And then we'll switch directions, moving the neck around in another circle in the opposite way. And again, we'll bring our eyes to a more neutral place directly out in front of us as we bring both hands down beside the legs to help us bring the legs around out in front. We'll scoot towards the middle of our mat and give the legs a nice little bouncing out. Now reaching the toes up to the ceiling, engaging up the legs so the kneecaps will gently pull towards the hips. We'll sit up tall on our sit bones. And we can start with the hands down or hands at our shoulders, or we can take the hands straight up towards the ceiling, but we're gonna stay here for a little bit. Focus on our breathing and focus on our stance or our posture in this pose. Using the hip bones and the core to pull us up. So we're sitting up nice and tall here. Good. With our exhale, we'll start to hinge forward. Again, keeping the spine long, reaching forward with the top of the head. It's okay if you don't move very far forward. We can always add a little more bend to the knees. And we can take our time as we get comfortable in this pose. Now we're going to add almost a cat-cow breathing to this pose. With our in-breath, we'll shine the chest and the eyes forward as we lengthen the spine. And with our exhale, we'll curl chin to chest and soften the forehead towards the legs. So we're almost moving in a wave motion or in our cat-cow motion back and forth. Inhale to extend, to slightly lift. Exhale to curl. And with our inhale again, we'll lift the upper body back up. We'll slide the bottoms of the feet in and then move them towards the outer edges of the mat, bringing the palms down behind the back. We'll roll the shoulders back so that our collarbones are long and wide from each other. As we windshield wiper the knees side to side, moving knees in the same direction. Good. Now we'll walk the hands back in and slowly slide or soften the back down towards the floor. Again, sliding the bottoms of the feet in a little closer to the hips. And notice how our low back is. If we've got a space where our low back is not touching the mat, we'll pick up the hips, we'll tilt them forward and set them down. So we're nice and grounded. We're pressing the hips, the low back into the floor. And then we'll take both legs up towards the ceiling. Now wiggle out to the toes, point and flex the legs. We can always take the hands to the backs of the thighs to hold the legs here if that is more comfortable. Or we can do the same motions with the hands, reaching the hands to the ceiling, pointing and flexing, circle the wrists and the ankles all around. Now we'll add a bend to the knees. And we'll grab for our big toes with our pointer and middle finger. Or we can wrap the hands around the outside edges of our feet. We're going to do some happy babies here. And we can play around with the legs. We can extend one leg. We can rock forward and back. Just taking a moment to play around in this pose. And we can also pull down on the feet. So we're bringing our knees to the outside of our rib cage and gently pulling down into the floor. Good. We will let go of our right leg and bring our right hand to the bottom of our left foot, softening the right leg all the way down to the floor in front of us, and taking our left hand to the outside of our knee. Now finding our laying or our supine pigeon here, we'll gently pull the inside of that left leg towards the chest. Now we can always rock the leg side to side in the hip. And we'll give the leg one more squeeze into the body before we slowly let go of the bottom of the foot. Bring the right hand around to where our left hand was on the outside of our left knee. And we'll pull the left knee over to our right side as we extend the left arm out from the shoulder. And the eyes can stay up towards the ceiling, or they can follow that left hand for our gentle twist. We'll guide our left hip back down to the floor, giving our left knee another big squeeze to the chest. And then we'll swap out the legs. Bring the right leg in, take the left leg long. Now we'll take our left hand to the bottom outside of our right foot. Right hand to the outside of our knee as again we find our supine or our laying pigeon pose. Now we can rock the hip, or we can stay here pulling the leg into the abdomen. Another big hug into the chest before we slowly let go of the bottom of our right foot. Bring the left hand to replace the right. Draw the right knee over to the left, and we'll find our gentle twist on this side. And again, we'll come back onto our mat, giving the right knee another big squeeze as we draw the left knee up as well, Wrapping the arms around the legs, hugging them into the body. We can keep the back of the head down on the mat, or we can roll into a ball by bringing chin towards the chest, lifting the back of the head off the mat. Maybe finding a little sway side to side, massaging out the low back. Now maybe rocking forward and back until we can bring our feet down in front of us, using the hands to lift us up. And we'll move to our mountain pose, our Tadasana. Bringing feet under knees, under hips, we'll pick up the toes, spread them out nice and wide before we set them down. Lifting the shoulders up to the ears, work them back and down the spine. We'll rotate the palms out in front of the body. Stacking the head over the trunk and closing the eyes. We'll come back to our breath. Fully filling the lungs, filling the abdomen with air, pressing the belly out. And exhale, we'll release the breath and anything else that we do not need as we pull the abdomen in and up. And with our next in-breath, we'll circle the arms up overhead, reaching tall to the ceiling. With an exhale, we'll swan dive the chest, bringing arms towards our sides as we fold towards the legs. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And we'll take some time here, wiggling out however feels right. We can pedal the legs. We can grab for opposite elbows and find a sway. Or we can find a little bit of a bounce. Now coming back to our more neutral place. We'll let the arms be heavy. We'll wiggle them out from the shoulders and droop them straight down towards the floor. We'll do the same with the head and neck. Drop the head down and wiggle it out. Now starting at the lowest point of our spine down by our hips, we'll roll one vertebrae up past the next, taking our time as we ragdoll, as we slow roll our way to standing again. Finding some shoulder rolls or some shrugs at the top. And we'll move back towards our Tadasana, bringing the feet underneath of our hips. With an in-breath, we'll reach tall to the ceiling. And this time with our exhale, we'll press into the toes as we send the hips back behind us. Bending at the knees, softening the legs. And we can keep the hands out in front of the body, or we can bring the hands to heart center. Moving to our Uttanasana, our chair pose. Now if our hands are out in front, we'll bring them in towards heart center, gently placing the palms together, and then we'll press them into each other. Now finding a gentle twist, we'll bring our left elbow to the outside of our right knee. Now making sure we're not collapsing through the legs, we're keeping strong as we press elbow into knee and knee into elbow and turn our eyes over to our right side. Bring the eyes back down towards the floor in between our feet as we remove our left elbow from our right knee. Lifting up slightly. And then we'll move to our other side twist. Right elbow to the left knee. Pressing knee into elbow and elbow into knee. Gentle twist to this side. And we'll bring our eyes back down to the floor as we untwist and lift the body up. Now we'll do some wiggling out. Lift onto the balls of the feet, bounce around, wiggle the legs, wiggle the arms. And we'll move to the top of our mat. With an inhale, reaching tall. Exhale, hinge from the waist, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. We'll plant the hands down, step, hop, or walk our feet back to our plank pose. Now from here, we can move straight to our down dog, or we can shift forward to our chaturanga, to our up dog or cobra, and then to our down dog. Now wiggling out some more here. Pedaling out the legs, wiggling the hips. And we'll lift our left leg up towards the ceiling. Circle the ankle out in one direction and around in the other. Now we'll bring our left foot to the top of our mat. Bringing in a full breath. And releasing the breath back out. Now we'll press into both feet and lift the body up, crescent lunge. Now lengthening out through our front leg, we're going to bring our back heel towards the floor. So if this is uncomfortable, we'll heel toe our left foot towards the outer edge of our mat. So we're no longer on a tightrope, we're on train tracks. Adding the bend back into the left leg as we move to our warrior one. Now again, we'll lengthen out through the left leg, press the hips back behind as we hinge and forward fold to our pyramid pose. We can have the hands on the legs or hands to the floor. Now we'll move both hands to the inside of our left leg, adding a little more bend so that we can pivot up onto our tippy toes and drop our right knee down. untuck the right toes as we move to our lizard pose. Now we can walk that left foot out even further. We can gently press the left knee away from the body. And we can even keep the right toes tucked under and the right leg lifted off the floor. Finding a place that's comfortable for you today, but where we can still focus on the pressing of the hips forward, of the lengthening through the spine, of the lifting of the chest, and that place between where we're trying and where it comes naturally, where it feels good. We'll shift back a little more so that more of our weight is in our back foot, and we can either lift and send the left leg around, or we can heel toe it around. As we move to our tabletop pose, we'll bring wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, spread the fingertips out nice and wide, press into the tops of the feet. With an in-breath, we'll shine the chest forward, lift the eyes, lift the tailbone, and soften the belly towards the floor. With our exhale, we'll press into the ground so we can arch up through the spine, tucking hips under and bringing the chin to the chest. And we'll move back and forth with our breath. And back through our tabletop, we'll make our way back to standing from here. So we can always tuck the toes under, send hips up and back, and step to the top of the mat. Or we can walk the hands in closer. Bring one foot underneath and then the other. Now with our next in-breath, we'll find a halfway lift. With our exhale, we'll fold. Reverse swan diving the arms, drop fingertips along the floor. As we press into the feet, lift the chest and the arms up. Exhale, soften the arms back down as we hinge at the waist, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Again, reverse swan dive the arms. Lift the chest, bring us up to standing. Press into the feet as we send the hips back. Hands can come to heart center. Chair pose. Now moving our left elbow to our right knee. Gentle twist. Sliding the eyes down to the floor to help us untwist. And then we'll twist in the other direction. Bring right elbow to left knee. Bring eyes back down to the floor, untwist again, extend the legs towards standing as we circle the arms towards the sky. Exhale, hinging forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant the hands down, step, hop, float, or walk to your plank. And again, we can move straight to our down dog, or we can chaturanga, tune-up dog, or a cobra. And then to our down dog. Lift the right leg. Circle the ankle out in one direction and the other. We'll bring that right foot towards the top of our mat. Full breath in. Even larger breath back out. Press through the feet. Lift the chest, bend into the right knee. Crescent lunge. We'll extend our right leg towards straight to help us pivot the back hip. Drop the back heel down. Bring the hips around. And again, we can always step the feet a little wider away from each other as we bend into our right knee. Reach the arms up and find our warrior one. We'll again lengthen out through our right leg. Press the hips back as we lengthen forward through the fingertips, hinging and softening into our pyramid pose. Adding a little more bend into our right knee to drop our hands down as we pivot the toes around. Drop the left knee and lizard pose on this side. We can walk our right foot out. We can press the knee away. We can roll to the outer edge of the foot. Whatever's feeling right, and allowing us the space to press the hips forward. And we'll move to our tabletop again, either lifting and bringing the right knee around, or heel toeing until we can set the knee down. Now we'll take the knees a little further away from each other, bringing left hand underneath of the chest. And with a big inhale, we'll reach right arm towards the ceiling. And with our exhale, we'll send that right arm as far through our left side as we can before we soften towards the floor. Now pressing into the left to give us the space to unthread the right arm. Send the right arm up, and we'll bring it underneath of the chest. A full breath to reset. And then with our next in-breath, we'll reach the left arm up. And then we'll thread that left arm as far through our right side as we can before we soften down. Pressing into the right hand and threading the left, reaching the left up. And we'll bring the left down. Now moving back to our child's pose, either with the knees apart or the legs together. We can keep the arms out in front of the body this time, or we can wrap them around the body. We'll close the eyes and take a few deep breaths. And again, we'll start to lift back up. Now, to finish our practice for today, we're going to do some legs up the wall. So we do need a wall beside us and possibly some pillows or some blankets to make this pose more comfortable in your body. So we'll come up alongside our wall. Bringing us in nice and close, we can either have the hips touching the wall or we can be slightly out. Now it is a little bit of a fidgeting with this pose to make it nice and comfortable to you. But then we'll start to bring the legs up and we'll stay here. Now, if this is uncomfortable in your body, you can roll your mat up and bring it underneath of your hips to lift the hips a little higher. You can bring a pillow or a blanket under the hips, or you can bring a pillow or blanket under the head, under the arms, wherever you feel would be helpful to you and your body today, to help you focus on the breath and to let go of the body as we let gravity do what gravity does, bringing any staleness in the body back to the heart to be sent back out fresh and new. Closing the eyes. And we'll slow the breath down further. Now seeing if we can make our exhales twice as long as our inhales. Either breathing in for a count of 3 or 4, and exhaling for a count of 6 or 8. bring another large breath in through the nose as we start to wiggle out the toes and wiggle out the fingers. And we'll start to walk or slide the legs down and then roll onto one side into a nice tight ball. Taking our moment of gratitude here. Thank yourself for coming to your mat today, for taking this time to be fully in your body, even if your body was a little uncomfortable at the beginning. Thank yourself for taking this time to focus on you, how you are feeling, how you are breathing, and how you can comfort yourself with movement and quiet meditation. Now, I recommend staying here in this pose for a little while longer to help bring the blood flow back out to your extremities. But thank you so very much for joining me today. It is always such a joy and an honor to get to spend this time with you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Go in love, go in light, go in peace, and go in joy.